Welcome in to my review of Dead Island 2. Now I want to thank obviously for getting a code for this. So I've been playing this game a lot for today's video on a Saturday. Beautiful day here, very beautiful day actually. Too beautiful almost. It's gonna probably rain tomorrow. How beautiful it is. Never mind. So before I start, obviously I'm not gonna have any spoilers. The following gameplay is official demo from like the developers from like a month ago, right? So no spoilers in the video and no like story spoilers, stuff like that. And before I start talking about the game, if you can like the video, that helps me a lot, like very much, more than you think for the algorithm. Now granted, this game, right, Dead Island 2, was announced almost 9 years ago. And it went through 4 studios, right? 4 studios 9 years ago. How can this game be any good, right? That's like the first question. Usually development hell games that are like in development for this long, 9 years, 4 studios, like almost always turn out bad. But granted, let me tell you right now, after playing this game for about what, 15 hours, something like that, both co-op, single player, different modes on PS5, I can tell you this game is good and it's fun. And I'm actually surprised how much I like the game. Like, I'm not even joking. I am actually like, for me, this game, when I booted up, right, I was expecting glitches. I was expecting not really performance, problems on PS5, but at least glitches. I didn't have almost any glitches at all, if any, right? Performance always solid 60 on PS5. Very surprised by that, obviously. For the older consoles, it's gonna be 30, I think. I'm pretty sure it's 30, and then on PC it's gonna be higher if you want that. But if you're gonna play this game on the Series X or the PS5, it's smoothly, it's beautiful. It is like what, almost 1800p, 60 frames, whatever. So from a technical standpoint, I am very pleased and actually surprised that this game works. And not just works, like it's very good actually. This game, if I had to describe this game just with a word, right? Just with one word, it's fun. It is so fun to play co-op. It is so fun to play single player. This game is fun, and I can't believe that it turned out this good. So just like from a development standpoint, huge W to the developers for this. Like I can't, like, just imagine 9 years of development hell, 4 studios, and they actually made a good game. The game came out, and in my opinion, it's a success, right? So like from that stand of view, for people who always ask me, I'm going to go through some questions, right, at the end of this video that I had on Twitter. So like the question after my review, the question part is gonna come out in the end of the video, right? So if you just want that, you can go to like forward a few minutes in the video. Now granted, let me start out with this. There's 6 characters, and each character is written by someone different. Like each character is like not the same. Like not everyone write the same character. So I picked Jacob, the UK guy, right, the British guy, and I think he's great. And honestly, like the dialogue is good, at least on him. I'm not sure about everyone, but Jacob has good dialogue. There's no like cringe, there's no like weird moments. And I think they probably changed that a few times because like I think they learned. It's like this game learned from a lot of mistakes of other games, what they shouldn't do. So like, okay, let's make a classic game and like just make it focus on being good. And it's good. Like I like Jacob. So for me, I think the intro is different for everyone. Now for Jacob's part, he lands on a plane, then you go out, you learn some stuff, and then just keep playing and all that stuff. So yeah. Now granted, speaking of gameplay, people, one common question I got was, is it clunky? Now in the beginning, when you're like level 2, 3, you don't have any abilities, and I'm gonna get into what abilities are. You don't have any abilities. You only have the classic, throw, just wave around and stuff. You have no like super special abilities. You have no cool moves like this. So in the beginning, it's a bit clunky, but it gets better, like way better later on, right? Way better later on. So I like the start. It comes out start. Story-wise, don't expect too much, right? I mean, I don't think anyone plays a zombie game for a story, but it's okay. It's decent. There are things that happen in the game where you'll go like, oh, what, why? What did that happen? But other than that, like, I don't think anyone's gonna play this game primarily for story, but it's okay. Like, that's how we're gonna describe the story. It's okay. Now, from the gameplay part, here's what I like. First of all, the amount of weapons it has. You can customize, obviously, upgrade weapons any way you want. Shock, chemicals, fire, and way more stuff. Bleeding. So you can like upgrade them, you know, if you can do more damage, be more, you know, be faster, have less damage, or like more endurance on the weapon. And you can always repair them. So you can always keep the same weapon. You can like upgrade them to your level, and you do have a leveling system. I'm like 20 something, and it's great. It's great. Like they have blueprints, like if you see on the screen. For each weapon you can upgrade. You can find, you know, obviously different stuff in the weapons. So yeah, weapon wise, a lot of like variety, very good variety in the game for weapon wise. I like the punches and swords the most. I like the, if you see the video right now, I like this type of, I like the claws, right? I really do like the claws. They're very, very satisfying to use. And speaking of variety, right? Enemy types. Each area, I'm going to get into areas too. Each area has like, obviously you have the runners, you have the walkers, but you do encounter quite frequently new enemies. And I'm kind of surprised by this. I was expecting 2 or 3. I'm not sure how many it has, but it has enough where I don't get bored and I want to keep playing. That's what I can say about the enemy variety. And I like the boss. Like the boss is not incredible, but they are a bit different from the typical boss. They have like, it's like a bigger boss with something, you know, something like a super special fire attack or whatever they're gonna have. So I like the weapons, I like the enemies. But speaking of the areas, here's the absolutely best part about this game, in my opinion. It is not open world. It is open areas. So basically you go to, for example, a beach or like where there's a bunch of houses, like Beverly Hills or whatever. And speaking of the houses, Beverly Hills part, each house you go to feels different. Like, it's not like you can go into every single building in the game, but the buildings you can go into feel different. Like it's not like just go into a random room and just pick apart. Like I feel like every room almost has a purpose that you can go into, and it's not open world, which it is so refreshing to me. And I know this is gonna sound weird for some people. I am tired of each game being open world. I want more games like this. Make open areas, and basically what open areas means is, okay, you can fast travel to this location. That's gonna be semi-open world. You can fast travel to the other location. It's gonna be semi-open world. But like I can't, like it is almost refreshing to play that in a, you know, zombie type of game. So from that point of view, incredible. Very, very happy with it. Very, actually incredibly happy with it. That was like from the gameplay part. Now, the worst part about the gameplay, I was talking about the melees mostly. I actually don't like the guns as much. Now they're good, but they don't feel good to use, and you don't use them so much. So like for the pistols, for the assault rifles, not the best things to use. Obviously, I mean, I always have one assault rifle on me, but they're so, not boring, I would say unsatisfying to use, so I'm just using the melee weapons, because using a melee weapon on a zombie, like the gore in this game is incredible. I will, not even joking now, I'm not capping or like joking whatever, it is comparable to Resident Evil 2 Remake. How good like the jaw drops when you hit someone, or like how like you can tear limbs apart with a specific weapon. If you're using a sword, you can obviously cut, you know, limbs off easier than you use a club. If you use a club, you're gonna smash the zombie's head in, and it's gonna be keep staying, you know, smashed in if it's still alive, right? And if it's dead, obviously you're gonna, you know, look at the corpse or whatever. So it's very good. Like I'm surprised how good it is. Like again, no glitches, no like lag, whatever FPS drops. And it works. It doesn't matter how many zombies you have on the screen. If you have current gen, you know, PS5 or a good PC or Xbox Series, it is great. It is great. I'm sure it's run good on last gen too. But for my experience, PS5, it runs very, very good. I'm very happy with it. So now speaking of, obviously I talked about story a little bit. The side content. I would say the main side stories are actually quite longer than I think they are. Like it's not gonna be go this, do that. I mean, yeah, you do that, but like it's not like gonna be done in 2 minutes. Something like I feel like the side stories has a purpose, and you always get something from them. Where it's a lot of money or something, you know, a good weapon, whatever. The side stories they don't have like a huge amount of side stories. I don't think. I think it's 40 total, but majority of them actually feel like good side stories. Now, granted, you do have the classic challenges, and you do have the classic, whatever you're gonna call like a find the treasure. Those are like more of, okay, go here, read that. Not the most fun, obviously, like the side stories. But so far, the side stories I did, nothing wrong. It's more gameplay. It's more like, oh, you're gonna find this, do that. So yeah, I like the side stories. But they obviously are more than just, you know, side stories, like finding stuff and all that. Now, granted, something I want to talk about that I didn't talk about too much is co-op. Now, my friend joined me, and that's how I played twice. I played with 2 friends, and both joined me at one point. and we just played the story and the side story and you know, doing all that stuff, and it works great. I had no lag. Granted, it was around launch, like before launch and the day of launch, because they didn't have the game as late as I did. But it worked great. It was fun. It was very fun. I am not completely sure how the progression works. I am pretty sure that my friend also got the same side stories done in his game when he joined me. But if I'm level 20 and he's like level 25, he's still gonna be facing my enemies, if that makes sense. He's gonna be getting my XP. So you can't, like, you know, it's not gonna be like Borderlands where like it's gonna adjust somehow. At least that was like my experience with it. So yeah, that was that. And now I actually want to get into some questions here. Let me just do this. I'm just gonna get my phone, have the questions ready here. Now, the most frequent question I got from everyone is this game worth it? Now, as far as I know, this game is 60 dollars. Is it worth it? I mean, let's put it like this. If I had to rate the game, I would probably give it. I don't have a platinum yet, so I don't like rating games before I completely complete them. If I want to complete them completely, but I would give it maybe an 8, maybe an 8.5, maybe even that. But right now, at least an 8. It is like I think it's a very good game. Again, this game, like if you asked me 6 months ago, I would predict maybe a 5 or a 6 for me. So this is like very like obviously it exceeds my expectations from it. So yeah, so that was the number one, obviously most common question of all of them. A lot of people say that obviously how did they do that with the performance, how was the all that stuff. So is it more fun than the first game? Yes, this is better than Dying Light or Dead Island 1 in every way, I think. Literally every way. Maybe some characters are better than Dead Island 1. That's the only thing I would maybe say. Maybe you enjoy some specific characters more in Dead Island 1. That's pretty much it. Now granted, I know it's going to be controversial. This is also a question I got. Do I prefer this or Dying Light 2? Now keep in mind, Dying Light 2 I have over 80 hours and I got in-game, like the in-game map. Not all achievements. So like everything you can do in the game, I got 100%. And I would say I like Dead Island 2 more than Dying Light 2. That's just me though. That's just me. Only because I feel like Dying Light 2 was not the sequel I wanted from Dying Light 1, which I love. Whereas like Dead Island 2 is way better than Dead Island 1. So yeah. I'm not saying Dying Light 2 is a bad game. I'm just saying it didn't live up to the sequel expectations that I had from it. So that was the question you got. Did I try the other classes? I want to try 2 other classes. And the biggest difference I noticed is some specials and cards. Cards are the abilities you get, right? So you don't have like an XP tree. You have like 4 or 5 different trees, right? Like not trees, but like stacks you can put in cards in. And in those type of cards, you have specific type of cards that has different abilities. So when you pick a character, you're gonna see what ability suits you and want to go for. Now for me, it's more about the personality because the gameplay is gonna be mostly the same, not exactly the same. Some abilities are a bit, different, but yeah. And speaking of the abilities, what's my, like someone asked, does it have like an, Kratos ability type? He literally asked that. What it basically means, if you press R3 and L3, do you go like into berserker mode? With Jacob, yeah. One of his special abilities, like he goes completely mental. I'm not completely sure if everyone does, but like you go into this like berserker mode, you just attack everyone with your claws and stuff. So yeah. Let me see more questions. Let me see. Better than the first one, absolutely. His performance is great. How is the exploration? Here we go again, because it's semi-open world. Someone asked, how is the exploration because of the semi-open world part? That's what's so great. I feel like they focused on quality over quantity. So almost every area I was in is kind of memorable. And you can go into the most places and, obviously search for stuff. And doing the quests for like the treasures actually gives you rare weapons, and the rare weapons are actually rare. You don't get them all the time. I literally have like a few weapons in the entire of my playthrough that's actually rare, and I like that because I don't like when you get legendaries all the time. I think you have to earn them, do something for them, so they actually stick out, which this game obviously has. Let me see. Someone obviously saw other people compare to other games. I'm only going to compare Dying Light, but I think it's fair. I'm not going to compare it to like GTAs and stuff. That's kind of weird. How are the puzzles? Honestly, like the puzzles are super easy in this game. Like I wouldn't even call it puzzle. It's just like going to this place. Okay, shoot that, do this. I wouldn't even call it puzzle, honestly. But yeah, they're quite easily, honestly. They're quite easily. That was pretty most of it. Again, the most common question, is it worth the money? I would say yes, especially if you have someone to play with. Now, granted, when you make a lobby, you can make open lobby, public. You can invite anyone in the world. Anyone can join you. You can have invite only, where like you can only invite your friends or people you choose to invite, and completely private. And private is like a single player mode where like if you press pause, it pauses the game. Like it is completely 100% single player at that point. How is the UI? The UI is pretty like not insane. Like I feel like you can find stuff, and the only thing I wish is you can have a quick access to the map. Now for me, I have to press like 2 buttons to get into the map. Even though I don't look at the map all the time, I just like holding in something to get the map right away. Maybe it is, maybe I didn't notice it, but for me, that was the only part I could think of. Is it better? How is the... Oh yeah, this is a good question. I just looked at all the questions. This is the last question we're gonna do. How is the gore? The gore and the dismounted, especially gore. Like I put a quick screenshot yesterday, and some people were shocked like how gory it is. It is super gory. So don't worry about that. Like that's what I'm gonna say. Like there is blood everywhere. Obviously, it's gonna shatter everywhere. Different zombies explode differently depending on where the explosion is. If you're gonna do explosions, so like the gore is it is there. It is there. So yeah, my final score for the game, like I said, it might change with the platinum, but I was in 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I actually highly recommend it. Now, even if it was 70, because someone asked me from Netherlands, it's actually 70 euros there for some reason. I don't know why. I even recommend this game at 70. So like 60, 70, I recommend both. So if you're gonna buy it, I recommend it. It is working. That's like the bare minimum. There's no major glitches, any glitches at all. Performance is great. It's a working game. I recommend it. 8 out of 10. So that was my review. If you liked it, obviously liking the video will help me a lot. And my next review might be Horizon, and then I'm gonna try to make Jedi, and I'm gonna make a showcase video, like all the info we have on it. So that's my plans for the next like 2 weeks or whatever, or like a week and a half or something like that. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.